All right, here we go. 13.3 Rise of the Cotton Kingdom. Big point here is to go through this super fast and talk to you about the difference between the upper and the lower or the deep south and how the economies in the north and the south were different. So I'm going to start off with this map. I can swing it over. And it looks like most of it's covered up. All right, anyways, we can see in the pink here, these are the southern states. And these are the upper southern states. Their economy would be quite a bit different than the ones in the deep south. So for the upper south, which would include North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland, essentially, we would place a major sale of slaves in these areas for economic activity, as well as tobacco, wheat, and veggies were the main crops. In the deep south, which you can see here in the green, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, cotton clearly ruled here. Rice and sugar were also important too. Now, we got to go back to something we learned about probably a few chapters ago, Eli Whitney and the cotton gin. This man's ingenious invention would completely change the deep south, making cotton the biggest profit maker pretty much in all of the South altogether. Remember in 1793 he invented this thing. It was 50 times faster than how a slave could do it by hand with that simple machine and the spin of a crank. So that would actually increase the demand for slaves and workers in the South, increase the amount of cotton that would be produced, and the chain reaction would just keep going. Let's talk about the different economy and how it was different than the North. Pop up my picture here for later. Here's why the North and the South differed in their economy. The South, with the invention of the cotton gin, became completely reliant on slave labor for their work and for their profits. Now, because they invested so much money in slaves, which sometimes would sell for between $300 and $500 a person, they had no money left over to invest in industry. In the North, they did not need slaves. They didn't need the hard labor. So all that extra money was put into businesses, textile mills, etc. And that's why, one of the reasons why they had so much more growth in manufacturing up there. Another problem of the South had to do with their reliance on waterways. You know, all these blue lines here are the rivers, and we can see all the big cities are typically on a river. Only 1/3 of all the railroads were in the South, so that again would help kind of keep the South more rural and reliant on agriculture. Big point. Last point, it really drives it home. The entire state of Pennsylvania right here had more manufacturing than the entire South, upper and deep, combined. Again, that should drive home that cotton was king. As the picture says here, actually the sentence, it was extremely vital to the South's economy. It kept them going and would be one of the ways, or reasons rather, that the South would go to war with the North. They needed to keep slavery as an institution. It kept them alive and profitable. Without it, they would have to turn to other things and possibly face economic depression. That's it.